Modern baseball players need ice baths, personal chefs, and sleep consultants to perform at their peak. Meanwhile, these 8 record holders probably ate hot dogs for breakfast and used pine tar as moisturizer. One guy was still throwing 100 miles per hour fastballs at age 46, while today's pitchers retire at 35 because their shoulder hurts. Another played every single game for over 16 years, while current players need load management for their feelings. These records aren't just unbreakable. They're evidence that baseball players used to be a completely different breed of human. Cy Young's 511 wins. Cy Young won 511 games during his career. To put this into perspective, most modern pitchers don't even start 511 games in their entire careers. Jacob deGrom has made 211 career starts. Garrett Cole has made 274 starts. Young didn't just reach 511 starts, he won 511 of them. Young pitched for 22 seasons from 1890 to 1911. He had 7 different seasons where he won 30 or more games. Today's ace pitcher might win 20 games once if they're lucky. The thing is, modern pitchers celebrate winning 15 games like they just climbed Mount Everest. Young was out there winning 30 games multiple times because that's what pitchers did back then. The current active leader in wins is Justin Verlander, with 262 victories. Verlander would need to repeat his best season of 24 wins 11 more times just to catch Young. Verlander is 41 years old. This means he would need to pitch until he's 52 while maintaining elite performance every single season. It's not happening. Young completed 749 of his 815 career starts. Modern pitchers throw a parade when they finish 6 innings. Young was out there completing nearly every game he started because relief pitchers weren't really a thing yet. Managers expected their starting pitcher to finish what they started, and Young delivered every single time. Today's pitchers need Tommy John surgery after throwing 200 innings in a season. They have pitch counts, rest days, and entire medical teams monitoring their arm health. Young threw complete games like he was playing catch with his nephew in the backyard. He averaged over 300 innings per season for most of his career, without ever complaining about his elbow or needing reconstructive surgery. Young pitched so long that baseball literally had to invent new rules just to slow him down. The pitcher's mound was created in 1893, partly because pitchers like Young were too dominant. The distance from the pitcher to home plate was moved back from 50 feet to 60 feet 6 inches because hitters couldn't keep up with the pitching. Modern pitchers get pulled from games when they hit 100 pitches. Managers treat pitch counts like they're monitoring a nuclear reactor. Young regularly threw 150 pitches per game without breaking a sweat. He threw 200 pitches in some games and came back 4 days later to do it again. It would take a modern pitcher 25 years of elite performance to match Young's win total. Even the best pitchers today win maybe 20 games in their peak seasons. Young was winning 30 games when baseball was played completely differently. He didn't just win games, he owned them completely in a way that modern baseball would never allow. The concept of load management didn't exist in Young's era. Players showed up every day and played baseball. This same mentality applied to hitting streaks, where consistency became an art form rather than a statistical curiosity. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. Joe DiMaggio made getting a hit in 56 straight games look as routine as brushing his teeth. While modern players throw celebrations for 10-game hitting streaks and get featured on SportsCenter highlights, DiMaggio casually hit in 56 consecutive games during the 1941 season, like it was no big deal. He wasn't trying to break a record or make history. He was just playing baseball the way he always played baseball. Modern players celebrate double-digit hitting streaks like they just won the World Series. A 15-game hitting streak gets players interviewed on talk shows and analyzed by statisticians. DiMaggio hit in 56 straight games during World War II, when the country had bigger things to worry about than baseball statistics. The thing is, he did this while half the baseball talent was overseas fighting in the war, which should have made the competition easier, not harder. DiMaggio hit .408 with 15 home runs during the 56-game streak. He struck out only 5 times in those 56 games, 5 strikeouts across 2 months of baseball games. Modern players strike out 5 times in 2 games. Current MLB players average 150 strikeouts per season while swinging for the fences on every pitch. DiMaggio made contact like a precision instrument designed specifically for hitting baseballs. Today's analytics-obsessed managers would probably bench DiMaggio on Game 55 to preserve the streak for marketing purposes. They would want to control the narrative, schedule special ceremonies, and maximize the commercial value of breaking the record. DiMaggio played in an era when managers just wrote his name on the lineup card every day and let him play baseball. The pressure of maintaining a hitting streak today would be unbearable. Every at-bat gets scrutinized by advanced statistics, social media, and 24-hour sports coverage. Players face constant interviews about their approach and mental state. DiMaggio maintained his streak when box scores were simple and reporters asked basic questions after games. The media pressure was practically non-existent compared to today's coverage. Modern baseball's three true outcomes approach makes DiMaggio's consistency mathematically unlikely. Players either walk, strike out, or hit home runs. Making contact for the sake of getting a hit is considered old-fashioned and inefficient. Launch angle and exit velocity matter more than just putting the ball in play. DiMaggio played when hitting was about making contact first and hitting for power second. The streak finally ended on July 17, 1941, when Cleveland Indians third baseman Ken Keltner made two spectacular defensive plays. DiMaggio hit two hard ground balls that would normally be hits, but Keltner turned them into outs. Even when the streak ended, it wasn't because DiMaggio couldn't hit anymore. No modern player has even come close to threatening DiMaggio's record. The longest hitting streak since 1941 belongs to Pete Rose at 44 games in 1978. That's still 12 games short of DiMaggio's mark. This record represents a level of consistency that modern baseball's power-focused approach actively discourages. Players would rather hit 40 home runs with 180 strikeouts than focus on making consistent contact for 56 straight games. Rickey Henderson's 1,406 stolen bases. Rickey Henderson stole 1,406 bases during his career. To put this into perspective, some entire teams don't attempt 1,406 stolen bases in full seasons. The Miami Marlins attempted 58 stolen bases in 2023. Henderson stole more bases by himself than 24 Marlins seasons combined. Henderson was famous for talking about himself in third person and having an ego the size of a baseball stadium. He would tell reporters that Rickey Henderson was the greatest base stealer of all time while Rickey Henderson was still playing. The thing is, he was absolutely right about everything he said. His confidence wasn't arrogance when he could back it up with actual stolen bases. Henderson literally stole his way into immortality while modern players are terrified to run on pitchers throwing 100 miles per hour fastballs. Today's players see a catcher with a strong arm and decide to stay put at first base. Henderson saw every catcher as a personal challenge and every pitcher as someone who needed to be embarrassed on national television. Henderson turned base stealing into performance art with his dramatic leadoffs and constant trash-talking. He would take enormous leads off first base, practically begging pitchers to try picking him off. His leadoff routine became a psychological game where he made pitchers forget about the batter standing at home plate. He talked to infielders during games, telling them exactly when he was going to steal and then doing it anyway. Modern players won't risk injury by stealing bases when they can just wait for someone to hit a three-run homer instead. The current approach focuses on hitting for power rather than manufacturing runs through aggressive base running. Players make too much money to risk sliding injuries for one extra base, when analytics suggest waiting for a bigger hit makes more sense mathematically. Henderson averaged over 60 stolen bases per season across his 25-year career. Modern stolen base leaders barely reach 30 steals in a full season. Trea Turner led MLB with 30 stolen bases in 2023. Henderson had 130 stolen bases in 1982 alone. He stole more bases in single seasons than most current players steal in their entire careers. The stolen base environment during Henderson's era was completely different from today's game. Catchers focused more on hitting than throwing out base runners. Pitchers didn't throw 100 miles per hour fastballs that reach home plate before runners could react. Catcher framing wasn't analyzed by advanced statistics, so catchers spent less time perfecting their receiving techniques and more time trying to hit home runs. Henderson's personality and fearless base running made him untouchable in ways that went beyond just statistics. He intimidated entire teams with his presence on the base paths. Pitchers changed their approach with Henderson on first base, throwing more fastballs to speed up their delivery times and giving hitters better pitches to hit. Henderson didn't just steal bases. He stole the entire concept of aggressive base running from future generations. Modern baseball treats base stealing like an unnecessary risk rather than a fundamental skill that creates runs and applies pressure on defenses. Cal Ripken Jr.'s 2,632 consecutive games. Cal Ripken Jr. played every single day for over 16 years straight, while modern players need load management for their feelings. He never took a day off from September 6, 1982 to September 19, 1998. That's 2,632 consecutive games without calling in sick, taking a mental health day, or sitting out because his back felt tight. Ripken never missed a game from the time MTV launched until Google was invented. He played through the entire Reagan presidency, both Bush presidencies, and most of the Clinton years without taking a single day off. Modern players rest for back-to-back games or minor aches that wouldn't stop most people from going to work at a regular job. Today's load management culture treats rest days like they're more important than actually playing baseball. Players sit out with hangnails, sore throats, and general fatigue. Ripken probably played through diseases that would hospitalize entire teams today. He played through broken ribs, twisted ankles, and family emergencies that would shut down modern athletes for weeks. The thing is, Ripken played through actual injuries that required medical attention. He had his nose broken by a fastball and played the next day. He sprained his knee sliding into second base and never missed a game. He played with a herniated disc in his back for months, while modern players get placed on the injured list for tight hamstrings. Current players have personal chefs who prepare scientifically designed meals for optimal performance. They have sleep consultants who monitor their REM cycles and recovery specialists who use advanced technology to prevent injuries. Ripken just showed up to the ballpark every day and played baseball like it was his job. Modern sports science treats rest as equally important to playing. Teams have entire departments dedicated to managing player workloads and preventing injuries through strategic rest periods. Players take planned days off to maintain their bodies over the course of a 162-game season. This approach would have been completely foreign to Ripken's generation. The mental aspect of playing 2,632 consecutive games might be even more impressive than the physical durability. Ripken had to wake up every morning for 16 years knowing he was going to play baseball that day. No sick days, no personal days, no mental health breaks. Just baseball every single day regardless of how he felt. What it took physically to never miss a game for nearly 2 decades defies modern understanding of human limitations. Ripken's body had to function at major league levels through injuries, illnesses, and general wear and tear that would sideline athletes today. He played shortstop, one of the most demanding defensive positions for most of those games. Ripken's streak represents a level of durability and commitment that modern baseball actively prevents through mandatory rest periods. Teams now limit player appearances to preserve their health over full careers. This approach makes Ripken's consecutive games record not just unbreakable but impossible under current team management philosophies. The concept of pitching until your arm falls off has become equally extinct in modern baseball. Nolan Ryan's 5,714 strikeouts. Nolan Ryan struck out 5,714 batters during his career. To put this into perspective, most pitchers don't even face 5,714 batters in their entire careers. Current ace pitchers face around 800 batters per season if they're lucky. Ryan struck out more hitters than most pitchers even get to pitch to. Ryan was still throwing 100 miles per hour fastballs at age 46 when most pitchers retire at 35 because their shoulder hurts. He pitched in the major leagues until he was 46 years old while maintaining elite velocity that would make current 25-year-old pitchers jealous. Modern pitchers start complaining about their arms after a few seasons and begin planning their retirement in their early 30s. The thing is, batters knew exactly what was coming from Ryan. He was going to throw a blazing fastball, and everyone in the stadium knew it. Hitters could sit on the fastball, time it perfectly, and still strike out looking foolish. Ryan threw the same pitch for 27 seasons and batters still couldn't hit it consistently. Ryan pitched until he was older than most current managers, while throwing harder than players half his age. He was 46 years old in his final season, throwing 100 miles per hour fastballs past hitters who weren't even born when he started his career. Current managers are typically in their 40s and 50s, meaning Ryan was playing professional baseball at an age when most people are coaching from the dugout. Modern pitchers need ice baths, massage therapists, and recovery specialists after every start. They have entire medical teams monitoring their arm health and limiting their pitch counts. Ryan probably used beer and determination as his recovery methods. He pitched in an era when players didn't have access to advanced sports medicine or sophisticated recovery techniques. Ryan averaged over 200 strikeouts per season across nearly 3 decades. Current aces struggle to reach 200 strikeouts once in their careers. Garrett Cole has reached 200 strikeouts 4 times in his career. Ryan did it 15 times while pitching into his mid-40s. He struck out 300 batters in a season 6 different times when modern pitchers celebrate reaching 250 strikeouts. Current pitchers need Tommy John surgery like it's a required part of their career development. Nearly every pitcher has elbow reconstruction surgery at some point. Ryan pitched for 27 seasons without major arm surgery, while throwing harder than anyone else in baseball. His arm was apparently made from materials that don't exist in modern human anatomy. Ryan's strikeout record is so massive it would take multiple Hall of Fame careers to approach it. The current active leader is Justin Verlander, with around 3,300 strikeouts. Verlander would need several more elite seasons just to get within reasonable distance of Ryan's total. Ryan didn't just strike people out. He made velocity and longevity look effortless in ways that defy modern sports science. His combination of power and durability represents something that current baseball medicine says should be impossible. The steroid era created equally impossible records that remain controversial to this day. Barry Bonds, 73 home runs. Barry Bonds shattered the single-season home run record in 2001 while everyone pretended not to notice the elephant in the room. He hit 73 home runs that season, and somehow his head got bigger too. The previous record was Mark McGwire's 70 home runs from 1998, which seemed untouchable at the time. Bonds broke it by 3 home runs while looking like he had been inflated with a bicycle pump. The 2001 season was when Bonds hit 73 home runs and transformed from a lean speedster into a muscular home run machine. His hat size went from 7 1/8 to 7 1/4 during his career. His shoe size increased too. These physical changes happened to coincide with his sudden power surge in his late 30s when most players start declining. The steroid-era controversy hangs over this record like a dark cloud. But the thing is, it still stands completely untouchable over 20 years later. Everyone knows what was happening during that time period. Players were getting bigger, stronger, and hitting more home runs than ever before. Bonds never failed an official drug test, so the record remains official despite all the speculation. Intentional walks became a legitimate strategy because pitchers were literally afraid to throw Bonds strikes. He was walked intentionally 68 times in 2002, which is more than some players see in total plate appearances. Pitchers would rather face the next batter than risk giving Bonds something to hit. Teams treated him like a dangerous weapon that needed to be avoided at all costs. Bonds turned baseball into a home run derby for one magical season. Every at-bat felt like it might result in a home run. Fans showed up early to watch batting practice just to see him hit balls into the upper deck. He made Pac Bell Park look like a little league field with how easily he launched baseballs over the outfield walls. Modern players in the launch angle era still can't approach 73 home runs, despite trying to hit everything out of the park. Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs in 2022, which was amazing, but still 11 short of Bonds. Current hitters have access to better training, nutrition, and technology than Bonds had, yet none of them can reach his total. Current sluggers strike out 200 times per season chasing home runs, while Bonds combined power with elite plate discipline. He struck out only 93 times during his 73 home run season. Modern power hitters swing for the fences on every pitch and miss constantly. Bonds was selective about which pitches he swung at, which made him even more dangerous. The record remains untouched despite modern players having better training and technology because it represents peak power hitting that was enhanced by questionable methods but remains mathematically unreachable. Bonds created a perfect storm of talent, enhancement, and opportunity that modern baseball cannot replicate. Ichiro's 262 hits. Ichiro got 262 hits in 2004 and broke an 84-year-old record that everyone thought was safe forever. The previous record was 257 hits set by George Sisler in 1920. Nobody had even come close to touching Seisler's record for over 8 decades. Most people assumed it would never be broken because baseball had changed too much since the 1920s. Ichiro's batting stance looked like a science experiment, but produced hits like a machine. He would stand with his feet close together, hold the bat high, and swing in a way that seemed to defy basic hitting mechanics. Hitting coaches probably watched him and wondered how he made contact with anything. His approach looked completely wrong according to traditional baseball instruction, but it worked better than anyone else's technique. Ichiro turned singles into an art form while modern players swing for the fences and miss everything. He wasn't trying to hit home runs or drive-in runs. He wanted to get on base by making contact and using his speed to beat out throws. Modern players treat singles like they're failing at their job because analytics tell them home runs are more valuable than base hits. The thing is, Ichiro had a precision approach to hitting when the entire league was obsessed with home runs and strikeouts. He studied pitchers like a scientist examining specimens under a microscope. Every swing had a purpose, whether it was hitting behind runners, going the opposite way, or just putting the ball in play to avoid striking out. Ichiro made hitting look like he was conducting a laboratory experiment while everyone else was playing home run derby. He would adjust his stance based on the count, the pitcher, and the situation. Other players were swinging as hard as possible on every pitch, hoping to hit the ball over the fence. Ichiro was calculating angles and timing his swing to make perfect contact. Getting 262 hits in a season requires incredible mathematics when you consider modern batting averages and contact rates. Players today hit around 250 on average and strike out 150 times per season. Ichiro hit .372 in 2004 with only 63 strikeouts. He made contact on almost everything he swung at, while most players miss constantly. Ichiro's contact-first approach directly opposed today's three true outcomes philosophy that prioritizes power over precision. Modern players either walk, strike out, or hit home runs. Making contact just to get a hit is considered old-fashioned and inefficient. Launch angles and exit velocities matter more than just putting the ball in play. Ichiro's hit total represents a completely different approach to offense that modern baseball has abandoned. He focused on getting on base through singles and using his speed rather than waiting for the perfect pitch to drive out of the park. Ichiro's 262 hits showcase a level of contact skill and consistency that modern players have sacrificed for power. His record proves that making contact was once considered more important than hitting home runs. Even back-to-back perfect achievements have become impossible under today's game management approach. Vander Meer's back-to-back no-hitters. Johnny Vander Meer threw consecutive no-hitters in 1938 when throwing one no-hitter is supposed to be a career achievement that defines a pitcher's legacy. Most pitchers never throw a single no-hitter in their entire careers. Vander Meer threw two in a row, which shouldn't be mathematically possible according to baseball probability. The astronomical odds of throwing a second no-hitter immediately after the first one created pressure that most athletes will never experience. Vander Meer knew that every single batter in his second start was either going to preserve his place in history or end it completely. There was no middle ground. He either completed the most impossible pitching feat in baseball history or became just another guy who threw one no-hitter. Modern pitchers get pulled after 6 innings with no-hit bids because managers worry about pitch counts and bullpen management. Vander Meer threw complete games in both no-hitters because relief pitchers weren't used the same way in 1938. Managers expected starting pitchers to finish what they started, especially when they were dominating opposing hitters. The mental pressure Vander Meer faced during his second no-hitter was unlike anything current players experience. Every pitch mattered more than usual because he wasn't just trying to win a game. He was trying to accomplish something that had never been done before and will probably never be done again. Each batter represented a potential failure that would haunt him forever. Today's managers would never let a pitcher attempt such a feat due to innings limits and advanced analytics. Modern teams have 5-man rotations with strict pitch counts that prioritize long-term arm health over short-term achievements. Pitchers get pulled at 100 pitches regardless of how well they're performing, because computers say their effectiveness decreases after certain thresholds. Modern baseball's approach makes consecutive complete games nearly impossible, let alone consecutive no-hitters. Pitchers work every fifth day instead of every fourth day. They throw fewer innings per start and face fewer batters per game. The entire structure of modern pitching prevents the circumstances that allowed Vandermeer's achievement. Pitchers in 1938 were expected to finish games as part of their basic job requirements. Relief pitchers existed, but were used sparingly and only in emergency situations. Today's specialized bullpen approach treats relief pitching as equally important to starting pitching, with specific roles for setup men, closers, and situation specialists. This record represents the ultimate combination of skill, luck, and opportunity that modern baseball actively prevents through systematic game management. Vander Meer needed perfect control, defensive support, and favorable circumstances twice in a row. Current baseball operations would intervene before allowing such circumstances to develop. Vander Meer's back-to-back no-hitters represent a perfect storm of circumstances that today's game management philosophy would never allow to develop naturally. His achievement proves that baseball's past created opportunities for individual greatness that modern systems have eliminated in favor of team-based strategic approaches. These records represent baseball's mythical past when players were superhuman Ironmen who played through pain that would end modern careers. Cy Young threw complete games with broken ribs. Ripken played 16 years straight while modern players need rest days for minor aches. The thing is, modern baseball's data-driven, risk-averse approach has made these statistical achievements not just unlikely, but actively prevented by the system itself. Pitch counts stop no-hitters. Load management prevents consecutive game streaks. Analytics discourage contact hitting for average. Sometimes the most important numbers in baseball are the ones that prove how completely insane the game used to be.